I moved to Nevada thinking I could outrun the mess I left behind in Idaho. Thought the heat and the space might burn some of the old memories out of me. Instead, I found a different kind of weird, not aliens or cowboy ghosts or whatever people joke about when they hear Highway 375. I found this gas station. Or maybe it found me. The Shell station sits off a stretch of highway where the desert stops pretending to be livable. No address, no street signs, just a lonely rectangle of buzzing lights dumped in the middle of nowhere. If you blink, you miss it. If you stop, you probably had no other choice. I started the job last fall. Took me all of 5 minutes to get hired. I think the manager was just happy to find someone who didn't ask a lot of questions. Her name was Carla, about 5 feet tall, probably pushing 70, and not interested in small talk. When I walked in for my first shift, she didn't give me a tour or a training video. She just handed me a laminated sheet. "These are the rules," she said. "Follow every single one." I tried to ask what they meant. She cut me off with a look that said she'd already said too much. Then she grabbed her purse, walked out the front door, and drove off without saying another word. I was alone. The station hummed around me, like it was breathing. The freezer moaned every now and then. The flickering light above pump 2 made this slow electric tick. I walked behind the register and looked at the list she'd left. There were 6 rules in total, each one stranger than the last. Rules for the night shift. 1. If the air conditioning turns on 3 times in under a minute, lock yourself in the bathroom. Do not exit until someone says your full name from the other side of the door. 2. If a child in a silver jacket and sunglasses enters alone, give them a bottle of water and a pack of plain crackers. Do not speak unless spoken to. 3. Do not look out the windows after sundown. Use the security cameras to monitor the pumps. 4. If a pale woman with bandaged hands asks for gas, assign her to pump 6. Charge $6.66 using the red tray under the register. Do not touch her money. 5. If a black SUV arrives and men in black exit, unlock the storage closet. Do not speak. Do not look at them. 6. If you hear tapping on the front door, do not look up. Do not respond. Wait exactly 5 minutes before resuming your work. I read them twice. Then I read them again. At first I thought it was a prank or maybe some desert loner initiation, but something about them felt too serious, too specific. Like someone had lived through them more than once. The first couple hours dragged by. A tired guy in a Jeep filled up and grabbed beef jerky. A couple in a U-Haul asked where the next rest stop was. I pointed west and told them it was at least 40 miles. They didn't look happy. Then the clock hit 11 p.m. on the dot. That's when I saw the headlights. They came from the far end of the lot, slow and steady. No sound, just motion. A black SUV rolled to a stop in front of pump 3. Tinted windows, spotless paint, the kind of clean that doesn't belong out here in the dirt and dust. I don't mean waxed. I mean not even a hint of road on it. Like it hadn't been driven so much as placed there. Then the doors opened. All 4 of them, synchronized. 4 men stepped out. Each wore the same black suit, the same black tie, the same smooth white shirt tucked too perfectly. Sunglasses, even at night. Their skin looked wrong under the station's lights. Pale but plastic smooth. Like there weren't any pores, no wrinkles, like mannequins but warmer. I didn't say anything. I didn't ask if they needed gas or directions or a receipt. Instead, I remembered Rule 5. If a black SUV arrives and men in black exit, unlock the storage closet. Do not speak. Do not look at them. My feet moved before I made the decision. The closet was tucked behind the employee hallway, next to the mop sink. I walked over, took out the keys, and turned the handle. Then I stepped aside. The men walked past me in a perfect line, no eye contact. They didn't brush against me, didn't acknowledge I was there. Like I was just part of the wall. They filed into the storage closet one by one. I didn't dare look up. When the last one passed, I waited. I counted to 30. Then I finally glanced at the door, closed. I hadn't touched it. I opened it again. The room was empty. Completely empty. Nothing but spare mop heads and a bucket of blue soap I never used. I didn't sleep when I got home that morning. Just laid on the couch in my little trailer, staring at the ceiling fan like it might blink. They came back the next Friday. Same time, same routine. Every week since, like clockwork. I haven't told anyone. Not because I'm scared they won't believe me, but because I'm scared someone will. And because deep down, I know if I ever break that rule, if I forget to unlock that door, or if I look one of them in the face, then I won't be here to tell anyone anyway. I follow the rules now. Every single one. It didn't take long for the job to settle into a rhythm. A weird rhythm, sure, but a rhythm all the same. The kind where nothing happens for 2 hours and then everything happens in under 5 minutes. Most nights were quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful, more like the air itself is holding its breath. The only sounds came from the buzzing freezer, the occasional sputter from the old coffee machine, and the electronic ping when someone stepped through the automatic door. Sometimes there were no pings at all, just silence. That was worse. One night, maybe 2 weeks after the SUV thing, I got cocky. It had been dead for hours. No customers, no weird rules triggering, just me standing behind the counter fighting the urge to scroll through my phone, even though reception out there was garbage. I kept glancing at the security monitors out of habit. We had 8 of them. They covered the pumps, both entrances, the back room, and the tiny hallway near the bathroom. Everything looked the same, grainy, dusty, dead. Around 2:15 a.m., I decided to stretch my legs. I told myself I was just going to sweep by pump 4. The front window there was disgusting. Bugs smeared across the glass like someone had flung a sticky trap. It bothered me every time I glanced up from the register. I grabbed the squeegee and a half-full bottle of cleaner, stepped out from behind the counter, and pushed open the glass door. It was still warm outside, even that late. Dry heat clinging to my skin, dead air that didn't move. The lights buzzed above me, casting everything in a pale orange wash. I didn't hear a single insect, not even the usual whine of something circling the bulbs, just sand crunching under my sneakers. I made it to the window and sprayed the cleaner. I didn't mean to look. I swear I didn't. I knew the rule, Rule 3. Do not look out the windows after sundown. Use the security cameras to monitor the pumps. I wasn't even looking through the glass, just at the streaks of cleaner running down it, and the reflection of myself and the pump 4 behind me. But that was enough. I saw it in the reflection. Something was crouched beside pump 4. It was tall, at least as tall as the pump, even in that bent position. Its arms were long, too long, bending the wrong way, like a spider wearing skin. And the skin, God, the skin looked raw. No hair, no pores, just stretched, slick tissue like something that had never seen sunlight. Its head twitched once. Not toward me, toward the station. It didn't move after that. It just stayed there. Still, staring. I froze. My fingers tightened around the squeegee until I heard the plastic crack. I didn't turn. I didn't make a sound. I backed away from the window with slow, steady steps. I didn't even let myself breathe hard until I was back inside, behind the counter. Then I looked up at the monitor for pump 4. It was gone. Just a clear, empty frame, like nothing had ever been there at all. I turned off the front lot lights and kept them off the rest of the night. Didn't go back near that window. Didn't finish cleaning it either. Next morning, Carla came in to check inventory. She didn't say anything about the lights being off or the half-cleaned glass. She just looked at me and said, "You get the hang of it yet?" I nodded. She didn't ask anything else, and I didn't volunteer a damn thing. From then on, I stuck to the cameras. The glass lies. The reflection shows things you're not supposed to see, things that aren't meant to be looked at directly, like they're only real if you acknowledge them, and once you do, they stay. That was the night I started to wonder who the rules were really protecting. Me? Or whatever's out there. The desert doesn't cool down at night like people think it does. Not during a heat wave. It just gets quieter. Like the heat spreads out and sinks into everything. The walls, the air, your lungs. It was mid-July and I was already sweating before the sun even set. I came in for my shift just before 10. Carla was behind the counter holding a wet paper towel to her neck. She handed me the keys, muttered something about the AC making weird noises again, and left in a hurry. I was alone before I could even hang my bag up. The station was stifling. I turned the AC to max and stood directly under the vent, arms out, hoping it would help. It didn't. The air coming out was barely cooler than the rest of the room. Just loud. I went through the motions, checked the coolers, stocked the gum rack, wiped down the bathroom handle twice just to have something to do. The heat made everything feel slower, like time was melting. I kept glancing at the security monitors, waiting for something to happen. I didn't expect it to be the AC. It shut off with a groan. Not unusual, except that it immediately kicked back on, then off again, then on, then off, then on, again. 3 times in under a minute. My stomach flipped. I dropped the candy bar I was restocking and sprinted to the bathroom. My hands were slick with sweat and I almost dropped the keys trying to jam them into the lock. I shoved the door shut and bolted it from the inside, heart thudding so hard I felt it in my teeth. Rule 1. If the air conditioning turns on 3 times in under a minute, lock yourself in the bathroom. Do not exit until someone says your full name from the other side of the door. I didn't need a reminder. I curled up on the toilet seat with my knees pulled tight against my chest. My fingers wrapped around the handle of the plunger, not that it would have done anything if something actually came through the door. The station went quiet. Not normal quiet, dead quiet. The hum of the coolers stopped, the buzzing lights faded into stillness. No wind, no traffic, not even the sound of the pipes. Then came the noise. Scratching. Not soft, not timid. This was claws on tile. Something heavy dragging across the floor outside the bathroom door, slow and deliberate. It scraped once, then paused. Then again, a little closer. I could hear it brushing against the wall, the occasional tap like fingertips or maybe nails. Then silence. Then the ceiling creaked. I didn't move, didn't breathe. My own heartbeat was too loud. I tried to count the seconds to keep myself calm but lost track somewhere after 15. Then came the voice. It spoke my name, all 3 parts of it. First, middle, and last. Clear as day, calm, soft. Exactly how my mom used to say it when I was in trouble. But it wasn't her voice. It wasn't anyone's voice I knew. Something about the way it rolled off the tongue, too perfect. Like it had practiced. Like it was trying to sound human. I sat there for another full minute. 2. Maybe 5. I couldn't tell anymore. Then I stood up, turned the lock, and opened the door. Nothing. The hallway was empty. The lights flickered back to life. The AC was running, steady now. The noise from the coolers returned. It was like flipping a switch. I've never broken that rule. Not even close. Whatever knows my name, it's waiting for me to forget that I'm supposed to hide. You'd be surprised how much time you can kill just pretending to be busy. That second month, I'd gotten used to the silence, or at least I thought I had. Learned to stock shelves slower, count cigarette packs twice, make up reasons to reorganize the chip display. Carla didn't care how I spent the shift, as long as the register stayed locked and I didn't leave anything sticky on the floor. I wasn't exactly thriving, but I wasn't falling apart either. Not yet. That night felt normal. Dead air. No customers, just me and the soft drone of fluorescent lighting. I was half asleep on my feet, flipping through a scratch pad behind the counter when I heard it. It wasn't a knock. It wasn't loud. It was sharp. Quick. Like fingernails on glass. Right on the front door. I froze. My head jerked halfway toward the sound before I stopped myself. Rule 6. If you hear tapping on the front door, do not look up. Do not respond. Wait exactly 5 minutes before resuming your work. I blinked, swallowed hard, and looked down at the countertop. I kept my hands moving. That mattered somehow. Fingers tapping against the register buttons, tracing lines on the scratch pad. Anything to keep myself grounded. The tapping continued. Tap, tap, tap. It was steady now. Not rushed, not angry, just patient, like someone playing a game. The air felt colder somehow, even with the heat still humming from the ceiling vents. My palms were slick again. I focused on breathing slowly through my nose. I wanted to look. It's stupid, I know. But when something's making noise that close to your face, your instincts kick in. Your body wants to look. It wants to know if you're in danger. But danger was in the looking. So I stared at the old pen in my hand and watched the second hand on the clock over the coffee machine. Every tick echoed. 1 minute passed. 2. The tapping got louder. No rhythm. No real pattern. It scratched sometimes. It tapped softly again. Then once, so hard I swore the glass rattled. Still, I didn't look. My legs started shaking around minute 4. I clenched my jaw and whispered nonsense to myself, just to keep from screaming. When the 5th minute hit, the sound stopped. Just like that. The silence afterward was worse. I waited another minute, just to be safe. Then I reached under the counter, and hit the button to rewind the front door camera feed. The video glitched. No sound, no clear footage, just a brief warping of the image, static for a few frames, then nothing. Empty parking lot. The glass door looked untouched. I didn't sleep when I got home. Couldn't stop thinking about it. What kind of thing knocks and waits 5 minutes? And what happens if someone does look? The cameras never show what's really there. Only what they're allowed to. I kept my eyes down for the rest of the shift. Some rules make sense after you live through them. Others just leave you with more questions. Rule 4. That one kept me up for a week. It happened on a Thursday morning, technically. A little after 3:30 a.m. The kind of hour where the world feels half dead, like everything's holding its breath until the sun shows up. The air had been heavy all night, windy but not cool. Just dust spinning through the parking lot and rattling the pump signs. I was behind the counter pretending to refill a receipt roll when I heard the door chime. I looked up. She was already halfway inside, barefoot, pale, wrapped in stained, gray-white bandages from the elbows down. Her hair hung wet over her shoulders, stringy and matted like she'd just climbed out of a river. Her clothes were soaked and clinging to her skin. She didn't limp or shiver or seem injured. She just walked, straight up to the counter. Her eyes, if you could even call them that, were the darkest I'd ever seen. No color, no reflection, just endless black. She stopped in front of me and said one word. Gas. That was it. Her voice was dry, quiet, and emotionless, like she'd used up all her energy getting here and only had enough left for that one syllable. I didn't ask questions. Rule 4. If a pale woman with bandaged hands asks for gas, assign her to pump 6. Charge $6.66, using the red tray under the register. Do not touch her money. Pump 6 hadn't worked in weeks. I'd even taped a little sign to the handle that said, "Out of order." But I wasn't about to test that rule. Not with her standing there dripping on the tile. I bent down, pulled out the red plastic tray from under the drawer, and set it on the counter. "Pump 6, I said, keeping my voice as neutral as hers. I punched in the price manually. The screen didn't even flicker. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a single bill. I couldn't tell if it was a 5 or a 10. It was too wrinkled and dark, and the edges were smeared with something I didn't want to guess at. Her fingers moved slow. The bandages squished faintly when she placed the bill onto the tray. I didn't touch it. She didn't say thank you. She turned and walked back out into the night. I stayed behind the counter, hands flat on the register, heart thudding in my chest like it wanted out. She moved across the parking lot like someone floating, not walking. Her feet made no sound on the pavement. The door chimed behind her, and I didn't move until it stopped echoing. Then I looked at the monitor for pump 6, and I saw something I can't explain. She reached for the pump handle. The same one that hadn't responded for over a month. The screen lit up. The pump activated. I watched her fill her car with exactly $6.66 in fuel. Then the feed glitched. One frame she was there, the next, gone. Just empty lot. Fuel nozzle hanging loose like she'd never touched it. I checked the tray. The bill was gone too. Carla never mentioned it the next morning. When I brought up the pump being functional again, she gave me a weird look and said she hadn't fixed anything. Pump 6 stopped working again that same night. I didn't ask why. Some things out here, they don't come for help or answers, they just come to complete a transaction. And I think the price is a lot higher than $6.66. By month 3, I'd stopped trying to make sense of anything. I still followed the rules, every single one. I kept them taped behind the register, just above the drawer, worn and curling at the corners. I'd memorized them by then, but I liked seeing the list. Something about the way it sat there, laminated and unchanged, made me feel like I still had control. That night started like any other. Slow, dry, boring in the way that only becomes terrifying after everything you've seen. It was almost 2 a.m. The radio was playing static. Not fuzzy music, just plain static. I hadn't touched the dial. Then the automatic doors slid open with a soft whoosh. I didn't hear a car pull up. No chime, no footsteps, just movement. I looked up. A kid was walking down aisle 2. Couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 years old, barely tall enough to reach the candy shelves. Silver jacket zipped all the way to his neck, sunglasses too big for his face. The kind of shades you'd see on some cheesy spy costume from the dollar store. His hair was short and perfectly combed. He didn't have a backpack. No dirt, no marks, just clean, bright clothing that didn't belong out here in the middle of the night. And he was alone. No adults, no car, no sound. I felt my stomach turn before I even moved. Rule number 2. If a child in a silver jacket and sunglasses enters alone, give them a bottle of water and a pack of plain crackers. Do not speak unless spoken to. I grabbed the water from the cooler behind me and the last pack of saltines from the display. Placed them both gently on the counter, hands careful not to shake. The kid stopped in front of the gum rack. He stood there for maybe 10 seconds, not reaching for anything, just standing, perfectly still. Then he turned and walked toward me with even steps. No noise. No drag of his shoes on the floor. Just gliding motion like his weight didn't fully belong to the earth. He stopped at the counter, didn't look at the food, just stared, right at me. I didn't say a word. My jaw stayed locked, eyes trained just past his shoulder, not quite meeting those huge dark sunglasses. The silence stretched 1 second, then another. Then slowly, he picked up the water. Then the crackers. He turned to leave. And just before he stepped through the door, he looked back and smiled. Not a kid's smile, not awkward or toothy or shy. It was full, wide, too wide. All of his teeth were the same size, perfect rectangles, dozens of them, lined edge to edge, row on row, like they'd never been used to chew. Just a grin. Then he walked out and the door slid shut behind him. He was just gone. I checked the monitors, rewound the footage. Nothing. The door opened and closed on screen, but there was no child. Just a glitch in the feed and 2 frames missing. I didn't finish the rest of my coffee that night. It had gone cold anyway. I've worked a lot of jobs. Dishwashing, warehouse, night janitor at a bowling alley where the ghosts at least had the decency to stay in the back hallway. But nothing like this. The pay's good, no boss breathing down my neck, no crowds, no chaos, but I'm always waiting. For Friday night and the black SUV. For the AC to kick on 3 times. For the tap at the window, or the child who's not really a child, or the moment I forget just one part of the rules. The thing is, I don't think the rules were written for us. I think they were written to keep them comfortable. Whatever's out there in the Nevada dark, it knows I'm here. It knows I follow the rules. And it's waiting to see what happens the day I don't.